hobbyists out there. I hope you are doing well. It's Tuesday. I'm getting started later than I usually do, but I've been starting later and later, so that's pretty par for the course. I'm not upset about it. I am just going to be posting started later a link to the stream in my Discord server, where you can come and hang out and show us what you painted if you want to during the stream. We'd love to have you. So just give me a moment. I'm getting that all set up. It'd be quite nice to see you there. I think today I'm going to work on continuing to paint up our Chaos Spawn, who I've lovingly called Partyboi. We got some base colors down on him, and yeah, he's coming along pretty good. So if you want to follow along, see how he turns out, that's what we're going to be doing today. So here is a link to the Discord. Hopefully you stop on by. If you're here, if you're in the chat, let me know how you're doing. Let me know what you're working on. The paint seems to still be viable in this bag, so I don't feel like I urgently have to use that lime green just yet. Although I should probably get back to painting Tau sooner rather than later. Today, for me, hasn't gone super well. I've been having a high anxiety day. Tried to relax by playing Borderlands with some of my friends, but couldn't keep my head in it. Kept getting distracted, so I had some dinner, and now I'm going to do some painting, which always soothes my anxiety. I've got some random music from the Moomins cartoon in the background, some rain noises, which I think will be a good sort of background ambiance for this stream, whatever that fake word is that people use. So yeah, we're gonna paint Partyboi. Gonna just have a nice relaxing time. It is a little later, so some of my regulars can't make it. I understand. No worries there. Partyboi's paint color scheme here is actually inspired by the Borderlands game I've been playing with my friends. I really like how the surface of the moon looks there, so I am trying to emulate some of that here. I think the blue that ended up being there after the wash was a little bit too dark, so I'm gonna lighten it up, see if I like that. And if not, if that's still wrong, well, I'll just keep painting until I figure out what the right color combo is. I rarely get it right on the first try, but that's okay. So many minis to paint and so much time to paint them, it doesn't really matter if I have to repaint things a couple of times. I've repainted these Tau that I have scattered on my desk a whole bunch of times, and I can only hope that the color scheme I'm working on now is finally the right one. It feels right, more so than some of the other schemes, so hopefully I've got it right. Hi Keegan, welcome to the stream. How are you? What you working on painting tonight? Thanks for stopping by. Hope you're having a decent week. Honestly, I think I miss Adepticon a lot more than I realized. It is a little weird not having something hobby related to do every day. Some of the other creatives that I was there with have mentioned that feeling too. We're not at the con anymore, so it's a little weird for all of us, or some of us anyway. I've never been to a con before. I'd like to go to another one. It's a really nice feeling to be surrounded by people who all knew all the dumb Warhammer stuff that we get such a kick out of and have so much fun with. No one be yelling for the Emperor or Wog in the hallways anymore nowadays. Although I suppose I don't really go anywhere with hallways. My house doesn't really have halls. It's more just kind of rooms. You're adding details to your captain while the primer on your dread cures. Red ink and gold paint is really nice. Cool. Inks are one of those things that I feel like I should work with, and I have an airbrush, so I really should work with them. I just haven't bought them yet. They're not something I've added to my own hobby arsenal. Let's see if I ever get around to that. That's true. There is no reason I can't yell for the Emperor or Wog in my own house. I don't know. I tend to be pretty quiet when I'm at home. And it's not like I was yelling it there. I was just enjoying the enthusiasm of the other people who were. It's always nice to know that you're not the biggest nerd in any space that you step into. I certainly wasn't. I have very fond memories of Adepticon, and I'm very glad that I have them. But yeah, I definitely miss it. There's not really anything super big on my radar now. Like, I haven't planned to go to any other events or anything like that, so kind of have to just chill and get through the next couple of months without anything major on the horizon, which is fine. Having a chill time is cool. It's just, yeah. I like having benchmarks and stuff to look forward to, so I'll have to pick out some new thing to put on the calendar so I can look forward to that. If you know about any cool events, definitely let me know. I might be interested in checking them out. No guarantees. Social anxiety is a real bitch sometimes. I was pretty anxious earlier today, so that kind of messed up some of the stuff I'd planned to do. But here we are. Hoping the painting will help with that a bit. It's a little hard to be anxious when you're trying to just make sure that you got your little party boy all painted up right. Although I do feel like I should be painting Tao. I was going back and watching some of my favorite, like, starter hobby videos, because I mentioned on stream the other day my friend Adam got into painting miniatures. He's actually painted a few goblins, and he started painting a gnoll today. He even put little hyena spots on it. Looks really good. And, yeah, I was trying to remember all the stuff that I watched over and over when I was getting into the hobby. And I watched one of my favorite Goobertown Hobbies videos where he's trying to speed paint a Start Collecting box in 24 hours. I'd really love to do a challenge like that sometime. I think it would be tons of fun. And I spent some of today thinking about which Start Collecting box I should choose if I was going to do a 24-hour, like, paint stream or something like that. I think that could be really fun. But, I should probably paint all the Tau that I have. Hey, having small goals counts too. I think getting better at OSL is a really good goal. I haven't particularly devoted much time to OSL or non-metallic metal or anything in particular, really. I should probably pick some sort of area that I could improve with and spend a bit of time on it. It's not a bad idea. The smartest thing to speed paint, if I was gonna do a 24-hour painting stream, would be to speed paint the towel exactly that I already have. So maybe I can finalize my towel color scheme and then get all my towel primed up. The thing of it is, I'm having one of my friends make custom 3D printed bases for all of the towel. And she is not currently, her printers aren't currently available to do that. So a little bit of my army plan is in stasis while I wait for that to become an available service, and then I can get all of the bases that I need printed. I also have to count up how many towel bases and what size I need them, so that she can make them the correct dimensions. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Let's see. I don't typically glaze too much, but I like wet blending. Wet blending is easy, and it's pretty fun. I think so much of what I do, I'm counting on a color scheme more so than any particular technique or painting ability or anything like that to carry the concept. So I want to get better at that. I also do want to experiment quite a bit though. I've been seeing other artists in other media work with synthetic sugar and coat things so that they look like they're coated in sour, like gummy candy dust, if you know what I'm talking about. Like if you get a sour gummy worm, it's got that like sugar on it. I kind of want to research how that's done, cuz I think having an army like a corn army, but they're all painted to look like Sour Patch Kids or sour gummy worms or something like that would be pretty fun. Kind of different, sure, but I feel like it would be fun. Yeah, I was thinking that would be like a really good place to start with the Skullbug guy. So I was gonna do a bit of research into that and see pretty much how that product works and if it'll work for miniature painting. Because the previous applications I've seen it work for is like clay sculpture, and if it has to be baked or something like that, then that's not gonna work because obviously I don't want to heat up and melt my expensive plastic miniatures. Hey, Kraz, how are you? I was just talking about you and how eventually, once your printers are clear and you've got the time for it, you're going to be in charge of making my towel bases, which I'm really excited about. I was talking about doing a 24-hour painting stream at some point, and I was trying to figure out what to paint, and Keegan was like, "You should paint your towel." I was like, can't do that until I've got the bases figured out, but it is a good suggestion. Only good things. Yeah, I'm really excited about them. I know you've had a lot going on though, so I will patiently wait until you are ready. Because I haven't even counted up how many towel I have. And I kind of need to do that in order to tell you how many bases I'll need. But it's quite a lot, and I feel a little bit bad about placing such a big order. Um, but I definitely want to get those bases because I'm pretty excited for them. Salt and matte medium should work pretty well. Oh, okay, that's cool. Yeah, some of them are gonna be small, like the ones for Kroot and for Pathfinders and Fire Warriors, just small. Um, However, I also have a Storm Surge, which has like a really big base. Um, so I need to kind of just make a list of everything that I have. I need to count it up and get you some totals, and then uh I mean, it's all gonna be the catwalk stuff. So essentially, I just need that printed on in like a circular fashion for most parts. But like Ghost Keel, for instance, I don't know what size base this is, but it's like a oval, so that's different. Um, so I gotta like just I gotta just basically Google, Ghost Keel base size and be like, all right, I currently have one Ghost Keel. So I need one of those. And then I gotta Google, like, okay, I've got a commander in this suit. What size base does he need? And I just need to get all the numbers together, really. Hey, welcome to the stream. Yeah, it's a paint stream. Feeling kind of anxious today and having a rough mental health day. So I'm doing some painting because that's what calms me down, brings me some peace. And I've got music from the Moomins in the background, which is the most soothing thing I could probably pick for myself. It does have rain sounds as well. I wish it had crickets too. That would be ideal. And maybe a fireplace. That would be the perfect blend of like happy background noise for me. I could probably edit that together myself, but I'm not going to go through the effort. But I figured I'd paint up, I'd try to finish Partyboi today, because he's pretty low pressure. Um, you know, like I don't think I can really screw him up too bad, because he's already kind of just a weird monstrosity. Um, so I don't think anyone's gonna care if he looks weird in the end. My sleep's actually been pretty good. I'm still having some weird dreams, but overall not too bad. Today it was just like situational stuff. Uh, I had some people on the phones at work who just were unkind people. And others were people that I couldn't help because, sometimes there's just nothing you can do because of the policies of the giant corporation that you work for. And it can be a little sad to just sit there and watch all that happen. Being part of the machine isn't always fun. I was listening to my coworkers during our like debrief session that we're having, and they're talking about like how hard it is to be on phones and get angry callers back to back and stuff like that. Like all this stuff that I know, like I knew all this happens on the phones. And it's kind of why I left my previous job. So hearing other people struggle with it, like, and knowing that there's not really anything you can do, and listening to our managers say that there's, you just kind of have to deal with it. And like our manager made a joke today about like, yeah, well, it's time to go for the day. I'm sure everybody's eager to get to their drinks, and I'm like, man, alcoholism is not the way that you solve this problem. So I thought it was in poor taste, but that was kind of crappy. And then I kept getting lost and falling off things in Borderlands when I was playing with my friends today. I'm not really great at jumping in video games, so I kept falling off the edge of the map, which was a little bit frustrating. The pre-sequel is the one that I'm playing, which involves a lot more jumping than any of the other ones, and I don't find that as fun. But I really do like the setting of it. Yeah, the music is peak. That's the Moons for you. I don't remember the name of the composer, but they're really good. I'll probably just loop this when it ends, to be honest with you. So I hope you don't get too sick of it. Ooh, okay, yeah, definitely show me that t-shirt design. I'd be interested in seeing it. I've been thinking of making Zoded with the Sauce t-shirts. I mean, no one buys my merch anyway because I have like, all it is my channel logo and that's fine. Like I'm not upset about that. I mainly put that up there so that I could buy a shirt with my little guy on it, but like if I saw a shirt that said Zoded with the Sauce and had a picture of a Zote on it, I'd be pretty fucking pumped about that. So maybe I'll descend into even more niche aspects of this hobby and make that someday. Oh geez, Keegan, that doesn't sound like a good dream. Have I watched the Moomins anime? Of course. I I have watched the Moomins anime. I think I've watched the most well-known one. Um, I know there was like a one that only really got a Japanese translation where everything is like super pastel colors. Like it's like I think one of the Moomins, I think it's Snork Maiden is like pink or something like that. So I haven't seen that one because I don't speak Japanese, so I don't understand what's happening. Um, but I've seen the most popular one, and then I haven't seen any of the recent one they did in 3D animation, but that's just because I have a love hate relationship with 3D animation, where I often don't think it's the best medium for things. So I just kind of keep to the version of the Moomins anime that I like. I just stick with that one and um don't really stray from that because I'm happy with it. Like I don't feel like I need another adaptation. I did back the Kickstarter for the 3D Moomins animation just because I thought that I would like when they were proposing another Moomin cartoon. I was like, hell yeah! Like no matter what this is, I support more Moomins being made. And I got a little mug out of it that's like supporter of this in 2017, and I'm like, hell yeah. I mean, I don't really, I don't know. I just support more Moomins content being around, I guess. It's a very important series of stories to me, but I definitely have my preferred format for them to be told in. And I know there's actually some like stop motion or like puppet animation ones, but I found the Moomins anime first, and that was the one that I watched, so I haven't really taken to other adaptations too well. Although I have seen the puppet one for Common in Moomin Land, I think it is. That film. Um, and I've seen Moomins on the Riviera as well, which is also 2D animation, 2D animation and is a film. But again, I don't think it captures the charm quite as well as the anime I first watched, so that's probably a little bit biased, but I like what I saw first. Haven't really strayed from there. Yeah. Yeah, I really like I like my preferred version, um, for sure. And then of course I have a couple of the comics and the stories. Um, I don't think I have the book that my favorite Moomin story is in, so I should buy that at some point in time. But it's always expensive to get everything shipped over. Um, So it's a real treat whenever I'm actually able to buy myself something Moomin related, which is not often. Um, and after Adepticon, it's probably going to be a little while before I look at the Moomin shop again, which is a shame. They have some very cute little, like, they have like a pot for cooking that has Moomins on it, and I regret not buying that when I had money because it was super cute and would have looked nice in my kitchen. But you know what? That's okay. I have perfectly functional cookware without Moomins on it that I can maybe someday replace with cookware with Moomins on it. I'm definitely a fan, yeah. It's just, it's a comforting series of stories for me. I think everybody has stuff that they're attached to that's just like a comforting series of stories for them to return to. Especially people who are really into like fantasy and stuff like that. I know Lord of the Rings is that way for many people. I think Chronicles of Narnia is that for a lot of people. Lots of people have their series. Um, Mine wasn't always the Moomins. Like, I didn't grow up with the Moomins or anything like that, but I found them when my anxiety was high, and I didn't know that I had anxiety. I wasn't diagnosed or anything, and I didn't really have anyone to talk to about it. Um, but I had something soft and comforting, and that's pretty good when you have anxiety if you can find something like that. So, if you have, like, whatever it is, whatever is your series or your stories that calms you down, that is important. And I think you should hold on to that if you have it and value it and not let anybody ever tell you that it's dumb or it's childish or anything like that, because it's yours and you can do what you want with it. Not a Moomin pot like that. A cooking pot. I specified. Ain't no weed up in this channel. Don't get me demonetized. I'm not even a partner yet. Christ. Yeah, well, I mean, pick up some Moomin books. You never know. Kraz, you have kids. You can get them while they're young into these charming stories. They're perfect for all ages. And I will probably still be watching the Moomins when I'm in the old folks' home, so can annoy my roommates with that. You're at a time when you're in your life where you're trying to break away from nostalgia. It feels too easy to retread old ground instead of making something new and personal. That's fair. Um, I definitely have times like that where none of the media I've consumed before seems to be satisfying. And definitely when I'm trying to start a new project or create a new story, I find that I have to take in a lot of new influences for new inspiration, or else things start to feel a bit stale. Um, but when I am feeling down or not at my best, I often don't want something new. I want to return to the familiar. So, for there, I don't think I could ever cast away nostalgia entirely, as it is very important to me. Good to be critical of it, though. Like, there are some things, like, I'm like, alright, you can't talk shit about the Moomins around me because that's my thing. But, it's not perfect. There's elements of it that are problematic and stuff like that, I'm sure. I just, I haven't looked into any of the aspects of it that might not be great or anything like that. And I don't really know. You look into anything too deeply and you're gonna find problems with it here or there. I know too much about too many different creative projects and the people who created them that sometimes I'm just like, you know what? Even if this thing is flawed and the creator is a bad person, which I don't think is the case with the Moomins necessarily, but sometimes I just have to stop or else it's impossible to enjoy anything. Fortunately, humans are very flawed creatures, and rarely does someone who is you know, I just don't think that making media often leads to the best people getting to be the creative leads of things. It seems like a very fast-paced and difficult industry to work in, making I don't even know. I don't even know what industry that fits into, making IPs. But yeah, some things I just don't dig too deeply into. I'm only one person. I can only handle but so much. Separate from the art from the artist, except fives. I'm sure you guys have already tried to cancel me over something or other. You make jokes about it every now and again, so guess I better watch what I say. Hi, Chris. Hi, Tigress. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for joining me. I didn't expect so many of you to be around so late. I know I started later than usual. I hope you guys are having a good time. I hope that you're working on something that you find nice. Today was a rough one for me, so I hope it was a better one for you. Too much anxiety today, but I'm hopeful that tomorrow will be better. And Partyboi, regardless of whether today or tomorrow is, you know, bad or good, Partyboi will inevitably be further along. So that's something we can all look forward to. I kind of wish I had an extra Blood Bowl ball, because although I don't know what he could be proxied as in Blood Bowl, he does look like he's ready to catch a ball and have a really good time. So I think for the basing, I'm gonna put some grass down and make him look like he's on a Blood Bowl pitch. Maybe he'll be a mascot. I think that could work out very well. I don't know that he's got star player energy, but he seems like he could be a mascot for something. Maybe that's why he's so ready to party. His team did well. I really love playing Blood Bowl. It's one of my favorite games, honestly. So much chaos can happen. But every time my werewolf scores a touchdown, that's kind of nice. I enjoy that it's a game full of so much chance that you can only strategize but so much. In the end, the dice giveth and the dice taketh away. And I'm not a person who reads rules and optimizes things, so, having an element of luck is usually pretty good. Oh, nice. Glad you can hang out, Kraz. And Cameron, welcome. Glad you're here for the painting. If you're painting something, let me know. I'd love to know what you're working on. I am down to the last of the lemon bars that you gave me. They're so good. I've been having them with tea, and they're just delightful. So thank you very much for those. They were delicious. And I'm going to be eating the last one either tonight or tomorrow for my break time snack at work. They've been great. You're riding high off mini painting at your friendly local game store last night. Oh, that's great. Paint nights at game stores are wonderful. That's how I first got started in the hobby. They were having a learn to paint night at my local game store. And if I hadn't decided to go to that, and really loved doing it, I don't think that I would be painting now. And probably if the person instructing it had answered all of the millions of questions I had about miniature painting, I I would never have looked into YouTube and stuff. So I'm glad he didn't end up answering my very long emails full of questions about how to paint miniatures and just encouraged me to do some research on my own. I remember everybody was talking about zenithal priming, and at the time I was in an apartment with no outdoor space, so I couldn't even prime. I had to paint directly onto plastic. But I remember watching videos teaching me what zenithal priming was, and now that's just a effortless part of my painting process. It's kind of funny to think about how far I've come. He has the heart of the winner. Yes, Partyboi does. For sure. Blood Bowl probably is a fun game to get drunk over. I don't know. I'm not really a drinker too much. So I probably wouldn't. Plus, I play Blood Bowl at my friendly local game store, and they do not sell alcohol there. So it would be a little weird if I was getting drunk there. Sorry, the music died. Let me get that back. So instead of having a beer and pretzels league, because a lot of people say it's a good beer and pretzels game, I always joke that we have a Coke and pretzels league because I'm always drinking Coca-Cola. It looks like I'm drinking garlic flavored Coke half the time because the vanilla Coke symbol is like a little, it looks like a garlic clove, but it's just supposed to be like a drop of vanilla, I guess, which is really weird. Let's see. Painting Stormcast still, fair. Yeah, they're good stuff, Cam. You're a talented baker. Slamming Millers and rambling about moons and Transformers lore. No, I don't think so. Let's see. Keegan, you're asking if you wanted to show my work to someone, what would I prefer that you show them? I'm really, really happy with how my Frosted Animal Cookie Zote came out. That's one of my favorite paint jobs that I've ever done. I don't know if the video's the best video that I've ever made or anything like that. I don't know, I'd be interested to know what you guys think is my strongest video or which one you enjoy watching the most. But I was particularly proud of how that Zote looked when I had finished painting him. I still think that, honestly, what I started with, I was trying to pick a project that really represented, who I was as a creator and what I wanted to bring to the table. With the Blood Bowl team, I painted to look like they were made out of pizza. So, I mean, there's tons of flaws with that video, sure, but I think it was a solid first concept. You liked the one about animation history. I'm glad you did. I had a lot of fun making that one. That was one I could be really super passionate about. I don't know that I'll be going on too many more animation history rants anytime soon. And I don't know if it's quite indicative of, the channel as a whole. But I had a blast making that video. I'm sure that a lot of my dumb passion came through for the things I was talking about. It was really fun to deep dive into that, and just to make sure I knew what I was talking about, because I wanted to make sure I hadn't misremembered anything that I'd read, because, that was back in college, but I watched, I did my own research on, the 2 and 3 color processes for animation and stuff like that, so it was fun to have an excuse to do a little bit of a deep dive into that. That was a good time. Animation talk could be a good for second channel. Yeah, I guess it could. Yeah, for sure. I don't know if I'd do that. I think having just one channel is a little, it's hard enough generating content for this channel right now. I don't think I could manage a second one too easily. And it's a little bit easier to promote when I just have one place that I can tell people to go to for stuff. I don't know that I'll be getting big enough to the point where I need a second channel anytime soon. It's a nice thought, though. I'll keep that in mind. That came out. That's super runny. That'll be interesting to work with. So in Borderlands, there's all this lovely, like, pink lighting coming up from, like, the cracks and stuff, in this moon that we're on. So I'm gonna try something kind of weird and just turn this model upside down, and see if I can just edge highlight from below, essentially, to make it look like there's sort of pink light. I don't know if this is a real technique. I think this is a technique that I'm making up and doesn't actually account for anything, but I'm gonna just give it a go and see how it turns out. And maybe it'll look weird. It'll probably look weird, but if I'm not trying weird stuff on occasion, I'm never gonna learn anything new. I'm sure I'm not the only person who's ever done this before. I can't possibly be. I hope that this shows up well enough on camera that you can still see what I'm painting, because probably you just see a base. That's what's kind of tilted towards the camera. That might not be the most engaging thing to paint on stream, and for that, I apologize, but I really just kind of want to paint Partyboi, so that's what I'm gonna do. Y'all don't ever seem to mind when I just do nonsense, so I won't feel too bad about it. I'm not really good at edge highlighting yet, either. So, something to work on. I don't know if I can properly call this an edge highlight. It does kind of look like when you turn it this way, it does look like there's a pink light coming from below, so I think we might be onto something. I don't know what to call this technique. If there's already a name for it, tell me so that I can not pretend like I'm inventing something here. No. This isn't a Borderlands model. I'm just painting it in a color scheme that's inspired by the Borderlands pre-sequel, because that's what I'm playing with my friends right now. I got really inspired by all the colors and the lighting in it. I thought it looked really cool. They'd all be running on ahead to do the quests and stuff, and I'd just be stuck there staring at something, because I liked how the lighting looked. In that game, you're playing on the moon, and if you're playing as one of the human characters, you have to manage your oxygen intake. And I didn't even realize that because I was playing as the robot character, of course. So while my companions were literally asphyxiating on the moon, I was just standing there talking about how pretty the light was. Which, you know, it's not appropriate for how I would probably approach that if I were actually a robot on the moon. It did not feel disingenuous, let's put it like that. I can be pretty oblivious to things. So I'm trying to make this look like, I think Elpis is the name of the moon in the pre-sequel. So, yeah. And I think it's kind of, you know, catching that sort of glowy pink feeling. I think that's working out a lot better than expected. Turn your models upside down. Hot tip. Plus, it also means you get to hold hands with Partyboi while you're painting him upside down. And that's sweet. If you're not holding your model's hand, how does it know that it can love and trust you? You can trust me, Partyboi. I'll take care of you. Until I accidentally throw you on the floor or a cat eats you. But that's the fate that all models must suffer one day. I can't save you from that. You love freehanding stupid little lines? Yeah, me too. Freehanding is such a blast. Your first ever Warhammer minis had a lot of freehand? That's cool. If I've ever seen the old Babab war paint schemes, Badab? I don't know how to pronounce that. You did the jungle camo with yellow and black lines. You'd call it underlighting, object source lighting. I want to call it pineapple upside down cake lighting because that feels appropriate, but it has absolutely nothing to do with pineapple upside down cake. It's just, it's just the upside down part. And I guess, yeah, to some degree it's object source lighting, but I'm not actually painting it, like, from an object, I guess, because there's no actual pink glowy part on this. Like, there's no object that's actually casting it on this particular model. So I don't know if that counts. Lila Mev, she has a great tip for lighting, for object source lighting. And she's like, just look at your model from the angle that the light is coming from. And everything that you can see, the light should be affecting in some way. So if I hold it upside down, which is hard because the base is in the way, everything that I can see should have the pink on it in some way. But I'm also just kind of taking some liberties with what I think will look cool, because I always tend to do that. I mean, it is art in the end, what we're doing. Painting is an art, so if we're not taking artistic liberties with our art, when can we take artistic liberties? It's literally in the name. Why is the cake upside down? Who let that go through? Well, pineapple upside down cake gets baked upside down so that you have the glazed pineapples on the top. So I guess that doesn't actually work, because we're not putting anything special on the top either. It's more like, I guess, angel food cake, which you bake, upside down, and then you, let it, like, rest and cool. You let it cool upside down, or right side up rather, so that it'll slide out of the tin and not lose any of the air. It's like weird. You have to have a special cake pan for it. I saw them do it on Great British Bake Off. That's how I know. I'm not some kind of like baking expert. I just watch television. You can learn a lot from TV though. I've learned more from TV than I ever expected to. I've wasted more time watching TV than I ever expected to, don't get me wrong, but occasionally you pick up tidbits here and there. I don't really know what to do with these weird craters on his back. The instructions told me I was supposed to fill them with tentacles, but as much as it would be fun to make jokes about, Partyboi just doesn't strike me as the tentacles type. I also still haven't decided what color party hat I want to give him. And I feel like that's a very important thing to decide. No, I'm not going to put pineapples on the mini. I'm just saying that I'm holding him upside down to figure out the lighting. That's it. See, that's why the pineapple upside down cake thing, it's very misleading. It doesn't have anything to actually do with anything, which is probably why it's not a very good name, and I was asking if it already existed as a technique. That's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good. I think pink eyes are a good choice for him. Or pink, whatever you want to call them. Pupils? I think they're pupils. You were gonna make an angel food cake. Well, there you go. I mean, it wouldn't really be out of the question for me to put pineapples on a miniature. That does absolutely sound like something that I would do. So, I don't blame you for asking that question. I think I'm going to use this color as his party hat. Partially just because it's right there. Sometimes that's a good enough reason to choose a color. Do you think we should do stripes or polka dots on his party hat? Be interested to know. Gotta get some freehanded somewhere on this guy, right? Probably don't need to use my fine detail brush for putting on a base coat. I'm really trying to be good with this one. Make it last. I don't know when I'll have another chance to buy a scale 75 brush, so I want that one to do well. Maybe this wasn't the perfect color choice. Doesn't really look like a party hat. Kind of just looks like a weird lump of flesh he's wearing on his head. Which I guess isn't totally inappropriate either for Borderlands or for a Chaos model. But I'm definitely going to try and jazz it up with some patterns. A lot of stray bristles in this brush for whatever reason. Must not have dried it out pretty well last time. It seems pretty stiff, but that's okay. I'm gonna try and just use it to put the detail bits on these feathers. I have an idea for painting Mortec Guard that I can't get out of my head. Not like I need to start an Osriarch Bone Reaper's army. We already know I have too many armies that I shouldn't be starting that I always think about starting. But earlier in the stream I was talking about how I had gone back to some of my favorite hobby videos that I watched when I was starting out as a mini painter. And one of my favorites was watching one of the Goobertown Hobbies 24-hour painting challenge videos. I thought I'd like to do a 24-hour painting stream sometime, but didn't know what project I should choose to paint. I feel like a Osriarch Bone Reaper start collecting box wouldn't be the worst choice in the world. Although painting my Tau is probably the more smart thing to do before buying anything like that. You never know, though. Sometimes you find good deals on stuff. Painting for 24 hours sounds torturous. I mean, I definitely have to take, like, meal breaks, I think. That would be essential. But I think it would be really cool to try. Painting is clearly one of my favorite things in this world, so getting to do that for a full day, it could be interesting. I'd probably be pretty exhausted afterwards, though, and that might not be so great. I'll have to see if I can schedule some time off and maybe get a long weekend in there so I can actually give it a go. Because I'd love to try it. You have to take Neil breaks. A guy called Neil comes in and tries to kill you, so you have to fight him. That sounds dangerous. Maybe you should consider trying to move away from this Neil person who's trying to kill you. Just a thought. So nice to paint. Yeah, I bet, Kraz. I bet. You never get half as much time to paint as you need. Yeah. I really have to decide what color glowies I want for my cow. He looks super chunky with all these layers of paint on him as I've been trying to figure out my color scheme. I feel a little bit bad about it. He's got some buildup, you know? He's maybe not come out of this better for the wear. But I do think I have the perfect little dollop of whipped cream for his head that I made the other day. Look at how cute that is. That, like, does that not fit perfectly? Are you seeing that? He's a perfect little key lime pie. I'm really excited for when I get to... One of the final touches is going to be to glue that on the top of his little head. But I made the perfect little dollop for him, so I'm excited. Partyboi's hat needs to dry before I can add patterns to it. So I think I might... Let's see. I usually, for the bases, I want to just get some, what's it called? The green grassy looking stuff that, you get. You know what I'm talking about. Green grass stuff for, like, flocking? Is that what they call it? Could do that. I've also got these, like, candy bits, which are kind of different. It's cotton candy bits. I've got those. I've got chocolate bits. And I think I've got, like, cake ones. Hang on. I've got so much candy stuff. If you can't tell, I commit to a theme, dang it. Yeah. Yeah, I got these little yellow cake ones. This stuff. Battlefield grass is what it's called. Or at least that's what the army painter calls it. I think I was originally going to have tried to sculpt a moon base for him before I thought about doing him up as a Blood Bowl player. But like what this stuff is it's just fuzz essentially that you can glue to a base and it'll look, you know, it'll look like grass. It already kind of looks like grass in here. Look, I just made a tree. Or a bush. It's fun to play with, but it, much like sand, it does get literally everywhere. I always try to, like, blow off the excess, and you have no idea how many times this stuff has just blown into my eyeballs. So I think, actually, we'll go with my original idea, because I'll paint directly on the green stuff. I'm a heathen. I don't give a shit. Because I think that idea is pretty good for the Borderlands stuff. Yeah, it does kind of look like Cocoa Pebbles. That's true. So we'll see if we can't make a moon base for this guy. Could be painting so many other things right now. Literally any other thing on my desk would be more productive for me to paint. But of course, I get distracted. I have this, like, little 3D printed resin base that I got from someone. I don't even know who from, with what mini or for what purpose, but I think it's going to be good to add some texture to the green stuff. I'm going to do these kind of like I did my bases when I did my Cursed City miniatures. I gave all of those cobblestone bases because I thought it would be cool. And I mean, it was cool. It did add like forever as an amount of time onto how long it took to paint everything. So, you know, there's that to be aware of. My painting is productive. I hope so. I'm not recording any of this for a video, so I don't know. I've been in a bit of a indecisive mood about what kind of content to make next. Of course I'm kneading green stuff with my bare fingers, Chris. You know whose channel this is. You think I'm gonna go and get gloves just to knead green stuff? No. The texture, admittedly, is horrible, and I do hate it. But, yes, every green stuff I've kneaded is with bare fingers. I just have to follow the heart and paint for painting's sake. Yeah, that's probably what I'd tell someone if they were asking me what they should paint. I'd be like, paint what you're most excited about. I should take my own advice. I'm just gonna take this and kind of try and smear it all over the base. Doesn't really matter if it gets on there evenly or not. I'm gonna try and keep that hoof just, you know, there. Alright, I've got a decent cover on that base. So this is good to get just a little bit moist before you press it into green stuff. But it should give me some nice random textures. Hopefully that'll look a little bit rocky and alien and moon-like. That's pulling up a bit. That's fine. We can fix that. We can fix that. Will there be fingerprints in my green stuff? Probably, yeah. Probably there will be, but I think that is good. I think that shows that this is handmade by me, Fives. And then because this is a moon, I'm just gonna go in with whatever I have on hand. This is a paintbrush, and I'm adding some craters. Just wherever I think a crater would be interesting. Kind of looks like a weird melted cookie. I want this one to be a fairly large crater over here. So I think that looks too even with the crater over here as well, so see if I can't kind of just smudge this one a little bit flat and retexture it. Whew, that's sticking. That's not good. Probably need to moisten that a little bit. Yeah, that'll do. Excellent. I think that looks like a moon. Cool. Friend is being a weenie and doesn't want to settle on one of his 3 perfectly good color schemes for his gene sealer coats. How do I emotionally manipulate him into being happy? You don't. I have a really tough time deciding on color schemes too. Like for these Tau, I have tried out about 6 or 7 different colors. The only way that I know that I'm happy with a paint scheme is when I paint it and it looks right. That's it. I cannot be happy with it until I see it in paint and it looks right to me. Sometimes a digital mock-up can make me feel better about the process, but, yeah. Until I actually see it, there's not much I can do. Actually, I really like how that little bit of extra green stuff that I just kind of rolled into a ball looks. So I think I'll scrape up just a little bit more and see if I can't make a few other little 3D round bits to stick down on this, because that'll probably look good. Just for some variety. It feels very Maurice Noble to do. Maurice Noble, for those of you who don't know, is a background artist, or what they call a layout artist. He worked for Looney Tunes cartoons. If you've ever seen, like the Barber of Seville or What's Opera Doc, those are 2 of the most iconic ones that he worked on, but he had this great way of just using minimalist shape and line in a very modern kind of style that always looked really interesting and good. So this seems like something, all these weird shapes would be something that Maurice Noble would have done, for sure. I think that's good. Yeah. That makes it look a little bit more like my moon, as opposed to just the moon. Did you really hobby if you don't have glue and green stuff all over your fingers? No, apparently not. Is it mildly toxic? Yes. Am I gonna stick my fingers in my mouth? No. I'll just, you know, wash them. As much as you criticize my safety habits, you think that's art that I did on the base there? You like that? I mean, it's just whatever I threw together. I didn't think about it all that hard. Oh, how did I make almost exactly the right amount of green stuff? I have done green stuff bases a lot of the time. I actually made probably a little bit too thin of a layer, but I just decided to stretch it really thin and had confidence that the texture that I needed, wouldn't be too, like, I didn't need too thick of a layer, so I just guessed. It felt right. That's honestly the answer. It just felt correct. I don't think I ever make quite the right amount of green stuff, but today I found a way to use the excess and to stretch out what I thought was too little, so it worked. Oh, I've seen the Triplets of Belleville. That is a French animated film. Really weird, but really interesting. I think that I didn't know that a grenade could look like any way that wasn't like the little egg with the pin that you pull out. So all of my classmates in animation school, when they were watching that scene where the old grannies toss a grenade into the river to catch fish, they all knew it was a grenade, and I had no idea what was going on. I was very confused. So, that's one of my fond memories of Triplets of Belleville. I also really like how they make almost all of the characters, Like, they liken them to animals, and they make a lot of animal noises, even though they're people. I always think that's interesting and really weird and cool when they do that in film. You've never in your life made even close to the right amount? Well, Chris, I wanna just be like those Dark Souls players and say get good, but that feels a little bit rude, so I won't say it, but maybe I'll just think it. Maybe I'll just think it. I think I'm gonna try and do some white polka dots, or some off-white drake tooth polka dots. I try not to use pure white on things because it often doesn't turn out looking as good as I'd like it to. American grenades are baseball shaped because that's what kids grew up throwing, but over in Europe, axe throwing is more popular. Interesting. I didn't know that's why that was that way. That's very cool. Hi there, buddy. There's a heck under my desk. Hi, buddy. Hello. He under there. Of course, he's coming at the time when I want to try and do detail painting. And, you know, I'm currently doing this while there's uncured green stuff on the base, so that's gonna work out about as well as I hope, you know? Should probably just get this looking right on the front. And then I'll figure out how to get it to curve around perfectly. I think that's good because it makes it look way more like a party hat than before. But still kind of in those weird, almost fleshy colors that you'd be like, yep, that's a chaos party hat. That's a chaos party hat for sure. Wow, okay. Our music died again. We've gone through that same playlist twice, and we're gonna go through it a third time, because that's just where we are. No one likes baseball. I've been to a baseball game before, but I'm not really a sports person. Not all too much. I just, you know, it's not my thing. You'd think, right, with the sports anime and how much I talk about it, I'd be really into real sports, but no, I solidly like fake sports. Sometimes I like to watch, like my friend Adam got me into watching some professional gamers, like play Overwatch and stuff. That was kind of interesting. He was very good at explaining all the strategy and stuff behind it. I think kind of knowing a little bit more about what goes into a sport can make you appreciate it. But real world sports, not so much for me. There we go. Partyboi has a hat now. I mean, he always had a hat, but now he has a party hat. I should probably be smart and wait for the green stuff to cure before I start painting it. I am eager to finish it, though. Fake sports, like volleyball. Do I like hockey, though? I know a lot about hockey. I'm actually wearing a Seattle Kraken jersey right now, because they're cryptids, which is cool. But, I'm not based out of Seattle, and I have never been to Seattle, and I have never watched a Seattle Kraken game, but this was a gift from someone who knew that I like cryptids and monsters, so I have this now. Hockey, it's one of those sports that my dad was really into, or is really into, I guess. He's still into it. I don't think his love for hockey has faded at all. So I went to hockey games a bit as a kid. I know I could name you a couple of teams, but I mean, I never really played it. And I wouldn't consider myself like a big fan or anything. I know about it, but I'm not really interested in it. Remember how I just said that I don't really use a lot of pure white? I'm tempted to use pure white for the glowies on this. I don't know what other color would be appropriate. I feel like using banana yellow is going to be too much yellow. But I do love moon dust a lot. So maybe we'll try yellow. Yellow is one of my favorite colors, so it can't really be wrong. Not in Seattle? Doxed. Yeah, no, I don't live in Seattle. Seattle is, you know, to my knowledge, Seattle is pretty expensive. I could not afford to live in Seattle. Some of you have been asking if I have a P.O. box, though. I don't currently, but I'm wondering if that's something that I should be looking into getting. I've never thought I needed one before, but some of y'all must want to send me something, which is real sweet. I think, Keegan, is it you who had asked a couple of times? I don't quite remember, because some of y'all have different usernames in Discord than you do on stream, so I try and keep y'all straight. Brush is all fucked up, unfortunately. That yellow paint seems to be going a little bit dry, which is not fun. You know what? If they had orcs and goblins playing hockey, I guarantee you I would never miss a game. I'd be the biggest fan. If there were fantasy creatures playing sports in the real world, I would be at every fucking event. I'd have whatever kind of dorky, like, season pass you need. I'd go to the fantasy Super Bowl or whatever the fuck it is. Stanley Cup is what they have for hockey. I don't know what they'd have for baseball. Baseball, they have the World Series. They have the World Series in baseball. They have March Madness in basketball. Right? They have the Kentucky Derby in horse racing. Or the Triple Crown. I don't know if that's still a sport. See, I don't know very much about sports. I can feel my viewership's just dying because I'm talking about sports. Yeah. No. I'm either offending people by not knowing enough about sports or boring the people that are here by talking about sports. Excellent. Excellent. I do not know if... I don't like yellow there. Just don't like how it's looking on this. Usually I love yellow. Maybe I could do like a really bright green. I do have some bright greens that I could try. try mint green. Mint green's never yet failed me, and it is a favorite color of mine. Do I rely on it too much? Probably. Is that a crime? No. You thought of painting up this Tau guy for a minute, and then a Blood Angels project happened. Ah, fair enough. You were talking about Zotes the other day, too. You asked me what base size a Zote had, and I told you, and then I asked why, and you said, don't worry about it. What's up with that? I want to know. You never circled back to that Zote thing, and we all know how much I love Zotes. And yes, I think, once again, one of my favorite staples, mint green, is going to be the right color for the glow effects. We're going to do mint green glowies. Louise Sugden calls them glowies. So, you know, it's an official Warhammer sanctioned term. Maybe I'll learn how to use my airbrush and actually make it so that they look like they're glowing. But I probably won't do that. I'll just hand paint it and maybe do some dry brushing. 'Cause I am basic. This is going to be kept to an absolute minimum, though, this mint green. This is only for the glowy parts. And I'll have to figure out how I want to highlight it as well. But I think that makes a nice glowing color. I hope you do too. I think I'll have to redo the eyes in this color. I've redone this center eye in so many different colors. I don't think it stands out as much, but somehow it does look right. What do you guys think? Should that have stayed yellow? Or do you think the mint green is a good color for the eyes? Because I can change the lens color if I need to. I feel like that's not the end of the world to put that back to yellow, but something about the green looks a little bit more refined to me somehow, if that makes any sense at all. You can't quite see it. Oh, sorry. Let me see if I can get that closer in for you. How's that? I've done the eyes mint green. And then the back, this was with a yellow, and then I switched to this mint green for the glowies. It's showing up a little bit more aqua looking on camera than it actually is in real life. The actual colors are not quite as vibrant as my camera's making them out to be. But I had them this kind of banana-y yellow before, like what you see on the casing. But I just painted it over in mint green, and I think I like it. Even though I don't feel like it stands out quite as much, I feel like there's something about it that says that somehow is more professional. I don't know how to explain it beyond that, but I think the glowies in the mint color look better. I don't think they take it out of being key lime pie either. At least I'm hoping that they don't. I have to use it extremely sparingly, and I'm only going to be using it for things that glow. But what do you guys think? Think it actually contrasts the key lime board? It's fire that's better. Crust parts could do with a pass. Oh yeah, oh yeah. The crust parts are not done yet. This is still base coating stage. This is not done yet. This is me blocking in all the colors so I can see if the balance is right. That's the only way I can kind of describe it. Without all the bases, I can't really see if it looks good together as a whole. And like these half circles, they're gonna have freehand to look like lime slices. This crust is gonna be sponged so that there's a texture buildup almost, so that it looks like real pie crust, with kind of different flecks of color. So yeah, this isn't done yet, not by a long shot, but I'm just trying to see if the colors look right in the spots and ratios that I've placed them. Which, to be fair, is something that, in the end, I have to be satisfied with more so than anybody else. But yeah, this doesn't have any washes on it. This doesn't have a lot of highlighting on it. It has a little bit with the yellow just so I could see how that looked next to the green, and I really love it. I think it adds to the sort of key lime pie effect perfectly. But yeah, this is far from done. I'm having to remember every step that I take as well, so that I can eventually write it down into a paint recipe. But until I know that a step is the right step, it doesn't get recorded, so there's that. I want to make a video about repainting these Tau. But I want to do it for the stealth suits that I was really stressed about painting, I think, in the end, because that'll show, you know, how I was worried about those fitting with the army, and how I developed a paint scheme in the end that worked with them. Because initially, what I had was, it was not working. But I like these. I feel good about these glowies. And I'll probably put, you know, a little dot of white or something in there, just so it looks like he's got that reflecting light thingy going that, you know, looks good. We got Ghost Keel over here too, who has a couple of glowies. I'm gonna paint those in to make sure that I remember and that they end up the right color. I don't know if I'll ever paint the tiny Tau inside of Ghost Keel, because I don't know how to do that. I'll be real with you. That's a really tough spot to reach. I'm glad we got to figure out what color to make the glowies, though. This makes me feel more confident about the paint scheme. I was stressing about that, not gonna lie. So, someone mentioned their friend having trouble deciding on their Gene Stealer cult scheme, and yeah, I feel that. Not for Gene Stealer cults, because I've never painted them, so I have no idea what kind of scheme I'd go with, but this mint green, this feels right. And I only know that because I painted it on the miniature and it looked right. I wouldn't have known that if I had just not painted it. And I had to paint that yellow to know that it didn't look right yet. So if your friend's paralyzed by indecision, just tell them to paint every single scheme. Every one that they're considering. They'll know if it's right or wrong once they look at it. They'll know. At least, I hope they'll know. Maybe if this is their first miniature, then they won't know, because first minis are pretty hard. You need to make your Gene Stealer Colts, too? Fair enough. Fair enough. I gotta pick out a corn color scheme for Skull Taker. But I really do want to try and see if that synthetic sugar product will work. Because wouldn't he just look great if he were a little gummy candy? I think so. He'd look fun at least. He seems like he'd be like a sour apple, maybe. And it would be really fun to try and get like a good like wet blend gradient on the horns and stuff and on the face. And then we'll see if for the little tiny worm here and there's another tiny worm. We'll see if we can't get those to also look like gummy worms. That was one of the things I wanted to have figured out how to do for my orc bases, was to put gummy worms on them. But I never quite managed to figure that out. And that's okay. Still working on that Combat Patrol release. I'm hoping I can get my Tau well underway before Necromunda Ashwaste's release, because I'm really excited about that. Do you want to see what color what color scheme I'm gonna be using for the bug guys? Let me know if you'd be interested in seeing that, because I actually have a miniature that I painted up forever ago, with a color scheme that I've always wanted to use for other things, and now I finally have a really good excuse to, so I'm super excited for it. Course? Yeah, I'll go grab it. I'll be right back. Watch my towel for me. So this is a guy that I printed up. Well, I didn't print him up. That someone printed up for me forever ago. He's got a little bit of dust on him because he's just been sitting on a display shelf. But I was working with a lot of cyberpunk colors. So it's not broken into a million pieces. You're so silly. But I was working with some, trying to get like a cyberpunk kind of lighting effect on it with the neon. So he's just like a metal guy with a poncho, and he's got some little bags and a bedroll and stuff. He's just like a weird little traveling robot kind of guy. I don't super know what's up with him. He clearly broke and I had to super glue him back together at some point. And then I have like this cool kind of like techno base for him, which apparently has somehow gotten a cat hair embedded into it. Like everything in this house. But yeah, I thought this could be an interesting color scheme to do those bug guys in. I don't know that anyone's gonna go cyberpunk with it, although that seems like a good place to take Necromunda. But I thought I might give that a go. I really need to let that green stuff just cure overnight. Gotta be patient. Patience is hard sometimes. I want to try pin washing to separate those panels, but confession time, I've never really done pin washing before, and I'm really nervous about doing it. So I don't know where to start, and I probably should watch a couple of videos about it. People have suggested oil washes, and I could try a green oil wash, but I'm a little bit nervous to try out a technique that I've never done before. Like, if you all have hobby fears, you best believe I have them too. I don't want to mess this up after working so hard on it, you know? I hope other people feel that way sometimes. I know sometimes you just gotta be brave and press on anyway, but I'm afraid. I also have this troll that I'm supposed to be painting because he needs to be ready by the 23rd. That's when I have a Blood Bowl tournament coming up. I have no idea what color scheme I want to paint him with, because he's supposed to go with my pizza orcs. So I should probably just paint him to look like pizza. But I don't know if that's a cop-out to just paint him the exact same way. And maybe make his little board a menu board? It's been so long since I painted that color scheme. I don't even know if I remember how to do it. Yeah, I could do a test. That's fair. That's fair. I really like that cosmic brownie troll I painted up, and it feels almost a shame to not also use that here. But I don't think it'll fit with the rest of my team quite as well. I've been trying to think of other desserts that I could paint him up to look like, but nothing obvious has stood out to me just yet. I've always wanted to figure out a good way to represent a banana split with a mini, but that's hard as hell. It is not easy to do. I've tried a couple different times, and it very rarely turns out. Ice cream is such a hard one to get down, because all of the colors are really, like, naturalistic colors, and if you're trying to paint chocolate, half the time it just looks like dirt. If you're trying to paint vanilla, half the time it just looks like, you know, nothing. It doesn't actually read as what it's supposed to. I think what we can do, though, is we can paint his little whipped cream dollop. One of the few times I'll use pure white. We can paint that. And then we can glue it on if we feel like it. Oh, that's way too much, but that's okay. Maybe we can paint all those little whipped cream dollops if we feel like it. Don't worry, I always make a mess when painting these. It's completely natural. It's hashtag a part of the process. And it doesn't frustrate me at all. Not even slightly. As you can tell, because I've managed to rein in that frustration so well. There. Excellent. Now we'll just wait for that to dry. A rocket pop could be fun. I think you've suggested that before. I have a feeling it would just look like America, though. Thanks for joining me. It was fun to have you here. I'll probably be closing up the stream pretty soon anyway, because it is getting late. And I do have employment that I need to attend tomorrow, so, you know, probably should go to that and not get fired or have attendance points or whatever fuckery goes on in this world. But I'm probably going to wait a little bit for that paint to dry, just so I can have the satisfaction of gluing that little dollop of whipped cream onto the top of the sky. He's coming along. These are solid base coats that we've picked out. They're looking good, and they work when replicated on the bigger model too so far, which is important. Now, the bigger model has a couple other areas that I'll need to do glowies on the back, but I'll get that taken care of. Painting bigger models can be hard sometimes. I just try my best. And I'll eventually figure out how to paint up this troll. Hopefully, it'll be in time for the tournament, or else I'll just run a different team. Clearly, I'm not interested in waiting for paint to dry today, so I'm gonna put a tiny dollop of super glue right on the tippy top of his head. And then pick up my little dollop of whipped cream, put it down. I will spend 3 seconds adjusting it to make sure that it is perfect. I will probably need to reapply some white paint, but that's fine. Yeah, I think that's good. And then I will very delicately paint on just a little bit more white, some of the areas that we touched. Seems like cat hair is always getting on everything. Feel bad for anybody who I've ever done trades with or commissions with or anything like that. For miniatures, there is cat hair somewhere on your miniature. I don't know where it is. You don't know where it is. But I guarantee you, it's there. It's not going away. You'll never get it out of your mini. It is a permanent part of that sculpture now. Just learn to live with and accept that. Isn't that cute? I love putting these little whipped cream dollops on top of things. I honestly don't think there's any better touch for my particular style than this. And I'm so glad I discovered this project. This product for this project. It always looks good, in my opinion. Which is the one that matters for, you know, my own art. I have so many little dollops, and I get to just choose which one is the perfect one for any given piece that I'm working on. Ghost Keel might end up with that one. You never know. But I think that's where I'll close it out for today. Certainly gotten some good painting in. I'm less anxious about tomorrow, thanks to painting calming me down for a little bit. So I think I'm up for the challenge. We'll see what it brings, though. I'm really glad that I got to spend the night hanging out with you guys and getting a bit of hobby done. I hope you had a nice time. For any of those of you on Discord, I hope that you'll share with me what you worked on in the things we talk about on Stream Tag, because I really do like seeing your work. It's nice to know that I haven't spent this time in a void just working on my own stuff. So I hope to see it there. And until next time, bye for now.